Here we go. We're here tonight, Kansas. That's right. Going to be some good racing here as we're still rolling in the round of 8. And you know what's amazing is this is the last race before the championship race. So let me throw up on the screen real quick here what we look like. And I know probably some of this has changed a little bit from last week. I don't have really an updated standing of whatnot, but I mean, still, this is kind of give you. This is the round of 8 drivers, and you can see Sherwood, Tatum, Altus, Collins, Trask, Grant, Ghost, and Haynes are all the drivers right now buying for to get into that round of 4. Now, let's go ahead and just get the monkey off the back of last week at COTA real quick, since we're in qualifying. Because everybody's like, well, Sherwood's already locked in. He won last week. Yes, he won. But remember the controversy at the end. And we're just going to leave it at this, folks, because like we say, we leave race control to go with all the other stuff is. He won the race, but he will not automatically get the advancement to the Final 4. So what that does is he still gets the points. He's still in a great position to get in the Final 4. As long as he just doesn't just destroy himself tonight. But it's still, he's not a guaranteed slot like it would have been. So that's really the only thing. Really good, sportsmanship out of the Clean Racing League. Good to see that the admins and race control are on top of a lot of stuff. And, and again, it's in the name. We say it all the time, Clean Racing League. And they want to keep it clean. And, I know Sherwood didn't do anything, malicious or intent or anything like that. Just a hard racing deal. Just unfortunate that it ended up like it did. But again, admin's on top of the situation. But that brings us to the points again. Like we said, he still gets the points. He still got the win. So he's still sitting in a good spot. You've got Tatum, you got Altus, you got Collins, you got a lot of other good drivers that we'll be keeping an eye on here tonight, because if one of those drivers do win, they're locked in automatically to the Final 4. But you still got 3 other spots we got to fill if that happens. Right now, we still got 4 spots to fill. So it's going to be interesting. And Caleb, I don't know if you're done over there yet, but I think it's going to be interesting coming out here tonight, because I think this is the first time I feel that we've come into the final race of the Final 8 not having someone locked in to the Final 4 and all 4 slots available. Usually, we've already had, somebody at least locked in.
Yeah, and looking at the point standings right here, you already talked about the controversy last week, Sherwood, Kenny, at COTA, and I feel like the league made the right decision.
Absolutely.
Taking the lock-in away from Sherwood, which I believe is the first time that's happened in the series. But he was able to keep his points, which is why he's plus 10 on the cut line. He still needs to have a good day to advance to the Final 4, the championship race. But I mean, there's few guys that need a really good day. You know, you got two guys that are 20 points and 20 points out from the cut line, and they're must win. You got Grant who's -7. He's going to need Collins to have a pretty, I want to say, mediocre day. He's going to have to finish outside the top 10, I feel like, because he's going to have to finish at least 4 spots ahead of Collins, because they both won on the season. So the tiebreaker would really wouldn't be there. But I mean, from what I'm looking at, you know, you were talking about they haven't. This is the first time we haven't had anyone locked in going into the final race of the round of 8. It's really up to anyone. You know, Ghost, Hayes, those two must win. Sherwood, Tatum, those two +10, +9. I mean, they can have a chill day, I guess, if that's the way you want to put it. But they're still going to have to compete. And I was talking with them earlier, and I asked Tatum if he was going to sweep the final 2 races like he did last season, and he said, "No, I'm going to take it easy, try to shoot for a top 5." And that's smart. You know, you don't want to take yourself out and be completely out of the championship race. Keep in mind, he is our defending champion, and he could make it 2 in a row here.
Absolutely, folks. Give me just let you talk about.
Yeah, so to basically go off the points, you know, they were already up on the screen, and you know, Sherwood +10, Tatum +9, Altus +5, Collins +3, and these are the drivers that are the 4 that, as it sits right now, would advance to the final 4 at Atlanta next week. But you also have drivers like Trask -3, Grant -7, who realistically could point their way in tonight. If they have a good night, they're going to need some misfortune from Altus, Collins. Those are really the only 2 where they're really going to have a chance, I feel like. Ghost and Hayes, -24 and -36. There's no mathematical way they can advance on points. They're going to have to win tonight. And you know, we see Hayes. He has really good short run speed in the series, but as the run progresses, we kind of see him fall off a little bit. And you know, that could be a factor here tonight, especially with Atlanta being a very long run racetrack. You know, as the run progresses, you have to move up the racetrack. Ghost, really good at 1.5 miles. I think he's really going to have to get on it tonight if he wants to make it to the final 4 and contend for his 2nd championship in this series. You know, really, it's anyone's ball game. They're in the final 8 for a reason. They can all contend for a championship. It's just a matter of who's going to go in advance to fight for the championship.
Absolutely. And just real quick, while I'm fixing on this, is to just go off what you said. I like what the league did. They stepped up. They showed a clean racing league there, and about what happened last week. And just doing them unfortunate racing deals. It happens. What it is, but got it cleaned up, and I think it's going to be an exciting one here, man. For it.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off of what you said, we know what Sherwood did wasn't intentional. It was a racing incident. It was just an overly aggressive move by the 93. But you also have to think, if you're Evan Kinney, you're going to race the 93 of Sherwood harder now.
Yeah.
And so that's also another thing we're gonna have to look at tonight.
And I've said that a couple times, Caleb. I brought that up a couple times. I want to see guys that are not chase drivers race to chase drivers hard. Obviously, I don't want anybody wrecking anybody. Oh, we saw it. But I do want them to race each other.
Yeah, and I think in any league, I feel like the clean racing league, everyone can race each other hard, and still have the respect to give each other room. But incidents like we seen last week still happen, especially when it comes down to the wire, like it did last week, and all this season really.
We're back, by the way. What I had to do real quick there, just to give you an update, I had to, unfortunately, SDK had an update, and I didn't see it, and I had to kill iRacing to do the update, so go figure. We got it before the green flag, so we're good. We're going green, Kansas. What's that?
Yeah, green flag here at Kansas, and Trash and Kelly on the front row. With the uniformly starting lineup, unfortunately didn't get to go through it this week, but we caught him right in time as they took the green.
Yeah. Well, you got Charas up front, like you said, man, he really needs a win here tonight. It would actually put him into that round of 4 for next week. You got Kenny right there. Mike Kelly, we've talked about that guy, man, numerous times. Has to race his way in. Looking maybe for a charter for next season right now. Has already won 2 races, so he's going to be a threat if he does get his hands on a charter next season. Which will be, interesting, because then he doesn't have to worry about racing his way in week and week out. And we know he can win. Right now, going for the lead over Trash, you've got Kenny, Honeycutt, Tatum's right there, one of the chase drivers. Ghost, hey, like you said, man, mathematically Ghost is out of it, but a win puts him in it. So, if he gets up here and sneaks up here, you never know.
Yeah, and as with Kansas, the fastest lane on the racetrack right now, fresh tires, is the low side of the racetrack. These guys hugging the white line are going to be the fastest on the racetrack, but as the run progresses 10, 15 laps into a run, you're going to start seeing these trucks move up the racetrack. And we're seeing Honeycutt make a move on the outside here, and sometimes it does stick. You got the fresh tires, full throttle in this truck, But as the run progresses, you're going to have to be on the wall, like right rear in the top seam, near the wall, ripping the outside. And that's just to carry the most speed. And the only way somebody's going to get past you is if you run into the wall, or they send it on you on the low side of the racetrack and slide job you. Those are really the only 2 ways, because this track is so momentum based.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else you can do for a track like Kansas.
And when you brought that up there, momentum based, I say that word a lot when it comes to tracks, which then in return brings up that track position is really crucial. Unless you get into some major tire differences, really track position I think is going to be very crucial here, because like I said, it's just a tough place to pass over time. Right now, you're seeing new tires. Guys have been able to utilize and make a pass. See Tatum get up here, going for the lead over Honeycutt. Kelly's still right there in third, Trask in fourth. We talk about some of the chase drivers right now in a hole would have to be Jacob Grant back there in the 30th spot. Really needs to, I know it's early, but he's still going to have to make his way to that front somehow, some way, figure out something to do. If not, he might be finding himself, outside looking in going in next week.
Yeah, and, currently -7 on the cut line. Currently trailing Trask, who's -3, who is, up in P4 right now. This is not the position he wants to be in, Grant. He wants to be up front, but he's just going to have to navigate and make the best of what was a poor qualifying on his part. And he's just going to have to make the most of it, get as many points, and hope that he can advance. Or if a caution comes out, he can pit, get tires, and work his way back up. But those are very, we can go green on a track like this. I don't really see. We might have like one caution. I wouldn't say it's like an IRP, but yeah, he's gonna have a tough time working through the field. Pit strategy is probably gonna be his friend in this race.
Absolutely,
because it's either, and at this point it's either you got to finish top 3 or you're going home.
Fell up on the wall a little bit too high, man. Got up there and scraped it. He's back there in the 12th place spot, but you see Sherwood trying to see. Look, he's got to give credit. The man's got a fast truck. He wants to prove it this week. Get up here. He's already up to third. Trying to work over Mike Kelly here for the second place. He's up 6 spots. So win definitely sticks him in. Or if he pretty much stays where he's at, he pretty much can be in where he's at right now on points. So top 5 for him finish is definitely going to solidify that for him. Right now you got Ricky Harding. Good run for him right there in 6th. So a lot of swapping of position right now, and that's kind of what you see before they will get single file here shortly.
Yeah, and as the tires start to wear, and that right rear really starts to go, and they start moving up the racetrack, I think that's when you're really going to start to see them single file out. But I mean, let's look at Honeycutt here. We're only 10 laps into this race, 11 laps into this race. Has he already burned his stuff up? Because he went around the outside of Kelly, got the lead, and now he's fallen back to 6th. This is not good. Especially if you were just battling for a lead, now you're falling back, and he's still being contested from behind. So he's on the inside of Harden here. But has he already burned his stuff up in that truck? And you got Tatum, Kelly, Sherwood in front, who, he kind of flew by at the start.
And I agree with you on that one, like you said. I mean, he's back there in 6th, and time will tell whether or not he's going to fall even a little further back. I mean, he's got Collins and Kenny right behind him. Remember, Kenny had an awesome run last week at that road course. It was a good little run. Matthew Dyer back there in 10th. Crank Bell. Let's look for their own back. Another chase driver here, man. Carey back here in 17th place spot. So, man, a little hole on his end, but, definitely he's got time to get back to the front.
Yeah, and right in his position where he's at right now, I feel like he can still work his way up. It's still early. I'm going to say it a lot this race. This track is very momentum based. You don't want to burn your stuff up early. Let the cars in front do that. Let the trucks in front do that, and just one by one pick them off. That's really all you can do. I am liking what I'm seeing though, with how many different grooves I'm seeing these trucks run. They're fanned out about 5 wide in the corner, just trying to find clean air. But that's old Spinelli in the wall. Keep it straight though. but
No barrels out there. That's why you get
no barrels. Man,
gotta give
poor
we gotta give old Smith-Alley a hard time.
But yeah, I with these trucks, they're so aero dependent.
Yeah.
You have to find the clean air on the racetrack, and just the cluster of trucks we're seeing
Look
here.
at 3 wide.
Yeah, it's you kind of just have to find. They are getting really close to each other right now. This cluster of trucks. We should probably tell them that Daytona and Atlanta were earlier in the season.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and there was also you talked about too with like some of the how this track is. Some of it too, remember they made a change. It's been about a year or so ago now. To some of how the track surface works, and it made some multiple grooves on some tracks that were normally top dominant. Chicago comes to mind and whatnot, to where they could race a little bit side by side for a while. And I think that's kind of what the product what we're seeing right here with these trucks. I mean, this is just a battle going on. It's around 20th place spot. You seen Hostler back there too, not a good qualifying run, and he's been the real talk of this playoff and the season in particular, because of just what he did the last 2 seasons, and then just coming up short on the championship both season, but then coming out here with high hopes, but with some new guys out here. Really just we've seen a difference in lane. He's struggled. It's a different side that we've seen. We've never really seen him struggle so much in a season, and missing the playoffs here. Obviously not going to be in the Final Four this season. So just one of these seasons that you just kind of got to regroup from.
Yeah, and every driver has their seasons. The past 2 seasons. He was winning multiple races this season. This season, wins Texas. That was his only win, and just comes up short, advancing to the round of 8. I'm sure he'll use that as motivation going into next season, and maybe we can see a return to form for Lane Hotzler in the 61.
And here's the thing too. Maybe you can explain a little bit to me there, Caleb. Is I know what happens in real life and so forth, but there's so many variables in real life, because you've got don't do it, Mark, man, that was a good save, man, right there as we was watching. But in real life there's so many variables to year, like manufacturer change, rule changes, aero changes to the car, etc. Here it's all fixed and all, and I'm wondering, because we're talking about Hostler, and you said everybody has a bad season, and I'll agree with that, because we see it in real life. But what I'm trying to ask is nothing has changed. Why would he have a bad season? What would make him have a bad season when really we don't have the variable that like they have in real life? You understand what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah.
Because it's really just not, he doesn't have those. So what is causing the fall off this season, basically, in a nutshell? Is it maybe the psyche of, maybe I need to change my driving style? I don't know, because it's not the car, because we keep the same cars, not the setup, we keep the same setups. I don't know.
It could be a mental thing. I know when I was, in these leagues, I would get in my own head. And that would be a thing. But also, when iRacing does their updates, they update their tire model, they update the physics model. It can change the way the truck drives. And some people adapt faster than others. And we've kind of seen some drivers and kind of adapt quicker. But I don't think any of that has anything to play into it. I just, sometimes it's also a rhythm thing. If you just can't click as fast, there's some tracks where, you click and you just go. And there's some tracks where, you just kind of struggle at. and you know, but our seasons vary in what is on it. So, you know, maybe he benefited from the tracks in the previous seasons, but he didn't benefit very much with the placement of the tracks this season. You know, I mean, it was the first time we had a road course in the playoffs. So, you know, it could be the schedule and the tracks that are on the schedule. It could be a mental thing. You know, it really could be anything. But you know, what's happened this season's happened. He's going to have to move on, learn from it, and you know, go on and try to fight for a championship next season. Yeah, we're riding on board with Sherwood here. He's currently trying to chase down Kelly in the 2 truck, who is an open truck, by the way. 2 wins on the season, uncharted. And you know, I'm very certain that if Kelly were to be chartered, made every race, he'd be in this fight that we're currently talking about right here. But you know, you got Tatum, Trask, Kelly, Sherwood, Collins. Those are our top 5. And Tatum, Sherwood, and Collins were already in the Final 4 based on points before we took the green flag. So if the race were to finish here, I'm confident that everyone would advance that was in the top 4. You know, let's see where is Altus at? I do not see Joshua Altus in the 94. That is a car I'm trying to find here. As we have pit stops currently happening. Yeah, Joshua Altus is 22nd right now, but you know, you see Jamie LaRocca in the background sideways. He's gonna get a penalty for that unsafe pit entry. But yeah, you know, we see Honeycutt coming to the pits here. Looks like some pretty clean pit stops here happening. But yeah, you know, just if these drivers finish where they like, you know, in the points where they were, the same Final 4 we had coming into this race will advance to the next race at Atlanta, old Atlanta. I should point that out. It's you know, the new Atlanta. We raced that earlier in the season. This is the old bumpy abrasive Atlanta that everyone loved so much from last season, so we made it our championship race. Someone in the comments says, "Let's go Curtis," talking about Judson Curtis. In the 29 truck. As we're starting to see these cars, you know, kind of filter back in, they're on these new tires, and you're starting to see this old to new tire transition, just how much quicker these new tires are. And I believe we're going to have a 3-stop race. I believe we're going to have it at, you know, we just had the pit stops at 30. We're going to have some at 60, and we're going to have them at 90, and that's going to leave us with a 20-lap shootout to the finish of this race. Which honestly could change the entire trajectory of what the race finish could be, especially if, you know, you got Kelly blocking Sherwood there, Honeycutt making a big move on the outside there. You know, we kind of seen him fall back on the start with a very aggressive start from Honeycutt. You know, Sherwood Sherwood had the most points coming into this race, +10. Does he play it safe? I know he wants to get as many points, he doesn't want to lose out on any position. But does he play it safe? He's got the most points. He can He can play it safe, finish top 10, he'll advance, just on points alone, as he's currently behind Honeycutt. And you see Joshua Altus, who is currently P11, but it looks like if he stay out, I don't know what is happening to Altus here, but he was only +5 coming into this race. So I don't know if he had, we're currently talking about Joshua Altus, who's +5. He's 11th right now, and pit stops have already happened for some drivers.
Ricky Hardy's in.
But with Joshua Altus, he's +4, but he's off the pace. I don't know if he's saving. I don't know, but if he's this far off the pace, if he hasn't pitted and he still has to pit, and he finishes outside the top 20, which right now looks like that might be the case, there's a chance he might not make the final 4. So
that's scenarios that we're talking about. I talked about it before there, Caleb. I think this is the first time we've been into where we're looking for 4 positions. Usually we're looking only for maybe 3. Somebody's already usually won the last race, which would have been the case, but circumstances prevailed on the other end. But I think it's the first time that we're talking, and like you said, it's been an unusual season, man. I gotta say that, and I'm really gonna miss you being up here in the booth with me, but it has been a crazy season because we've seen guys that we're always used to seeing up front dominating or being there at the end. Some of them are struggling, and we might see some new guys up here in the Final 4.
Yeah, and the first one I'm looking at, that if Altus, and it looks like he's going to a low lane here. It looks like he might be pitting. He kind of went low pretty early going into that corner.
Leaders are in.
And yeah. So here's Altus. He went about 7 laps later than Spinelli deep into the pits here. Almost ran into the back of Grant.
This tells me they can't do one stop.
No, and I was actually, while you were away, I was going into the pit strategy. So our leaders, the ones that were out front that pitted first, they pitted lap 30, around lap 30.
Yep.
So it can go 30, 60, 90, and then you got a 20 lap shootout to the end. Or they could do what Altus just did, and they can go 30, 38, then they could try to push it towards a little bit in the 80 area, and they can try to 2-stop it. You can go 3-stop, 2-stop. But those guys that pitted around 30, I would imagine they'll try to 3-stop. Because just how much time Altus lost, it's insane. But he's going to be on the fresh tires. He's going to have the momentum. So, we'll see how this plays out.
9 laps later than Collins, who is out front right now. So that tells us that at least Collins could go another almost 7 to 8 laps more. So your math, like what you're saying, yeah, he pitted at 28. If he goes to 58, which would be 30, go into the 60s, that's only still putting him around about 35 laps to go, give or take. My math ain't 100% on, but it's around about that area. He would be right there at that 37, 38 mark if he chooses to stretch.
Yeah, and the thing I'm looking at, we just seen Altus, who we're going to pay a little bit more attention to, because he's going into this race, was in the Final 4 on points, +5. So we're going to pay a little bit more attention to
Luckily,
him.
he didn't go a lap down, though. So that's the good news.
Yeah, and he's got the tires. He's going to be able to make up some time. It's just, can he make up all the time?
I'm sorry, real quick here, Caleb, because you talked about that tires really quick. Remember we were talking about momentum? His last lap was a 30.94. Yes, he's going to be faster, but Collins was only a 31.86. And we know Altus, the more he runs, the more the tires are going to fall off. It takes us back to what we were saying before, how track position is so more important here on this track. And that what you're saying, that Altus right now is going to be in a hole and very hard to get to the front.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the S&B guys, you know, Collins, not Collins, I'm sorry, Tatum, Sherwood, Altus, Dyer, Peterson, that group of drivers, they are big on their pit strategy. They can, they know how to, they know the fuel game. They know how what to do with the tires.
Sherwood, part of him?
Yes, Sherwood as well.
You know, Sherwood's on that 28 lap difference. Now, he's like a total different, and we've seen this before. They sometimes maybe split. And I think this is game plan team-wise. One try one thing, the other try the other, and see which one works, and then they'll go that route.
Yeah, and, you know, maybe Altus was in a position where he had to do that. You know, he had to go longer.
Sherwood's not that big of a...
Yeah, and I was talking about earlier, you know, Sherwood coming in plus 10 on the cut line, and you know he was getting a little racy with, you know, the slower cars that were on the older tires. And I was talking about how, you know, does he just take it easy? You know, you don't want to
top 5. He's good, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even top 10, I feel he would be fine.
I'm sure he wants to win. I mean, everybody wants.
I would rather finish top 10 tonight and then win next week.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And so, you know, we've seen Sherwood come really close to winning a championship in this series.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, and I hate to bring up last week, but I think that's why he was so aggressive last week.
Yeah, well,
you know, because he wasn't there last season. He wanted to be, didn't make it. You know, Ross ended up winning the championship. He wants to be back. He wants to fight for a championship. So, you know, top 10 night, start focusing on Atlanta 08 next week, and, you know, keep it moving.
And, you know, speaking of the man of the hour, the defending series champ, Ross Tatum, who in his first season, I think has just never been done. I think we talked about that before, winning the championship, and now in his second season here, very close to getting himself to defend that championship. And if he can do a back-to-back, I think that might actually be history also. I mean, your first 2 seasons win a champ, that would just be phenomenal. I mean, right now, just everything has went his way. Tatum, you've been able to stay out of trouble, been able to get up front, and looking good. Right now, he's sitting in second. I mean, Collins obviously out front. And but we still, even with that, you know, Tatum would love to win. But like what you talked about, even with Sherwood, I'd rather win next week than tonight. You know, because if he stays in second, obviously he's pushing himself in the Final Four.
Yeah, and you know, earlier in the race, I was talking about how I talked to Tatum before the race, and I had asked him if he was gonna sweep the final 2 races, and he's like, no, I'm just looking for a top 5. You know, you don't want to risk it. You know, he isn't locked in. So, you know, he just kind of wants to play it easy, and like, you know, albeit he is fighting for the lead. So, which, I mean, he's a multi-time winner this season, current defending champion. So obviously he knows what he's doing. He knows what's going on with that truck. He's been very good with top 5 finishes this year, with a few wins, as you know, we're on board with Trask here.
That's another playoff driver, you know, hey, looking to try to punch his ticket into Final Four, and one that has Trask ever been in the Final Four? I'm not familiar. Maybe you are. Since I've been here, I've never seen his name in the final.
I don't recall. I do believe this is his first season, but I'm not quite sure. I will say, right now as it sits, with Altus outside of the top 20, Altus is 24th. This puts him outside of the playoffs, outside of the cut line, and Trask inside of the final four. Yeah, just because Trask was -3 coming into this race. Yeah, Trask was -3 coming into this race. Which he would have to, yeah, he was behind. No, that was behind the cut line. He was -8 from Altus, so he would have had to finish 9th.
Yeah, he's got pushing in, don't he?
Yeah, so Altus is really going to have to make whatever pit strategy he chose work. Because as it sits right now, he will not be fighting for a championship.
And Altus, the way you're talking, Altus would almost have to be close to the top 10, with Trask being in the top 10, in order for him to keep Trask out.
Well, if
unless Trask wins the race, he's going to be battling for the lead right now with Collins while we're talking. But and that just throws that whole scenario what we're talking about. If he wins the race, obviously he's automatically in. But if he finishes in second, well, that's the scenario we're talking about here, folks. If he does finish in second, Altus would almost pretty much at that point have to finish 10th place, because that would be 8 spots. And I'm going off of just 1 point a spot. I don't know 100%, maybe bonus points and all that stuff calculated.
If I'm Altus and I'm looking at the leaderboard right now, these are the 2 cars, first and second right here, Trask and Collins. These are the 2 cars I do not want to see fighting for the lead. And if I want one to win, it has to be Collins. Because Collins, it has to be Collins. And because if it's Collins, he can still point his way in the Trask if he can make up the positions.
Well, yeah, I know what you're about. Well, my problem, I didn't mean to get to it, but my question then would be, even if Collins wins this race, if Trask finishes second and Altus finishes where he's at, wouldn't Trask leapfrog him?
Well, Trask has to finish 9th position. So as long as he can get there, like within 8 positions of him.
Altus road. Wow, really?
Yeah, I won't.
Blinking bad. iRacing blinking bad or something.
Yeah, I've lost it for a second. It seemed
Honeycutt on pit road. So we've got a lot of the guys that pitted at lap 28 coming in now. So this looks like they are going off that three stop strategy you talked about earlier. So we've got Collins on pit road, Honeycutt, Carey on pit road. Kelly was the first to bring them down. So what happens up here with Trask? Obviously pitted on lap 31, so he's on a little longer. What does Tatum Sherwood do up front? How about that pit strategy? But it's going to be interesting math-wise there. We're talking a lot about the points and stuff here, folks. And, I want to give a shout-out to everybody out there. What's going on, Bonnie? How you doing? This is Go Tyler. Bonnie Honeycutt, so I'm going to say that significant other, wife, or mom, or something like that. But going on out there, Uzi D. Curtis. Patsy, man, as always, and Torque, man, out there. Look at the dusty crowd. So get everybody tuning in as we're 1 race away as the leaders on pit road right now. So we've got some pit stops. 1 race away for the championship race next week, and we conclude this season. And it has been a thriller of a season. It's been an up and down season to talk about new drivers coming into the Clean Racing League. Some of the old drivers struggling this season. Some drivers not making the playoffs that we thought would. And just a lot of new things have happened here. We've seen some firsts, like you say, with the road course in the playoff. And, just some of the drivers up here. And obviously right now, next week maybe can make some more history if Tatum can get in there and can win a back-to-back championship. Don't think we've seen that done in a long time. And don't think we've ever seen anyone in their first 2 seasons win back-to-back here at Clean Racing League. So that would be the vacant thing. But been a wild type of season, man, so far here at Clean Racing League, and that's kind of what makes it exciting.
Yeah, and the fact that you know, these races are, you know, more times than not clean. So they go flag to flag. But yeah, you know, I'm watching the ticker right now, and I'm seeing Altus's name climb, and I know
Well, there's a
people
lot
are
of pit
pitting.
stops going on. Pit stop.
I know people are pitting, but Altus cannot let Trask win this race. Because if Trask wins the race, then it becomes a point battle between Altus and Collins, and he was, I think it was 2 points above Collins. So he, you know, that's a very tight battle right there, and Altus really hasn't had the pace all night to really contend with Trask or Collins, and those are really the two people he's racing at the moment to try to lock himself in, because Sherwood and Tatum have been up front, top three all night, as we're seeing Trask pit right here.
Yeah, and he was, you know, he pitted at 31 last time, so this puts him around about another 31 laps that he's pitted. So he's looking off of that pit stop, because even here, 70s, 20, 10s, 30, 60 would be 40. He'd have to go 37 laps, give or take, to go the distance. Can he do that? Yes, we've seen it. Obviously, though, if the green, white, checkered flew, that would be detrimental. But could he realistically go the distance from it? He could. Just because of what we've seen Altus do for 38 laps, pitting at 37. So, and a lot of other guys pitting at 37. Actually, Matthew Dyer out here pitted at 37. So they went 37 laps. So we know they can go that distance. So can Trask do it? Or is he going to stick to the 3-stop? I'm going to throw my scenario out. If a caution comes out, forget about it. Everybody's coming in. Okay. Right now, though, Trask, you just see him right there. He had the advantage. He got back on the lead lap the hard way because he stayed out in front. Most of the other guys went a lap down when they were on pit road. I'm going to say that Trask stays out unless a caution flies, because if he pits later, trying to make up track position at this track, I just don't see it. I think Trask has to go the distance. Because Altus is definitely going the distance. You know, I mean, and if Trask was to try a 3-stop at this point, no, it'd put him so far behind he wouldn't be able to catch up. He wouldn't have enough time to catch up.
I don't think he would be that far behind. I mean, you're you're talking Altus, who, you know, I wouldn't say doubled. He went 10 laps longer, and over the course of a run, that's a lot of time. And he's going to do it again, and he's going to essentially cut out a stop of his race.
22 seconds between the two right now.
Yeah. And by the time he pits, I'd imagine him being the teams, because Altus is going to go probably another 7 laps, if I had to say so, because he's going to try to push as far as he can.
But Trask could not come in and get tires too. If he came in and got 4 tires and did a full pit stop on this last one, he'd be too far behind. He would be another 20 seconds behind Altus.
He could
come in, maybe get fuel only, and hopefully only be, you know, that would be the only saving grace. I mean, obviously we have to see how it plays. And right now, Altus is moving up to the field. Trask back in 17th, down 20 seconds now, Bentley. So, yeah, when Altus does pit, and sure, he's going to go down to Trask, because the full pit stop time is around 40 seconds. So he's going to be at least a solid 20-some seconds behind Trask, at least. Could be more, could be less. But we'll say just going off the numbers, around about 22 seconds, 23 seconds. If Altus was to come into the pits, he would not be able to take a 4-tire stop. Not at 46 seconds, because then that put him right about that 15 to 20 seconds behind Altus. See where that kind of like flipping a little bit. So I don't know, man. His strategy is kind of weird.
Yeah, and I think it's really going to come down to the final lap.
We don't want to do that. Don't get in the wall.
I was really slow there. That's not what he wanted. Because that's just going to allow Trask to gain more time on him before he makes his pit stop. But we are 70 laps into this race, and I think it's a good time while pit stops are happening, and all of that's playing out, to talk about our race sponsors.
There's one of them right there, man.
Yep. Playoff driver goes, repping the Sports Academy Youth Flag Football League car. You can go to sportsacademy.us and learn all about it. Super grateful to have Sports Academy on board for the past 2 seasons, and next season as well. And so just what they've been able to allow us to do with this series, be able to give the champions something, race winners something, and just really grateful to have Sports Academy on board, and for the future as well. And you see it on Jacob Grant's car there too. So more trucks the better. He's kind of blinking a little bit. But also Grant Designs, he makes most of the trucks for some of the drivers in the series, and most of our graphics as well. And Uniformity, who does our starting lineup. So those are all of our race sponsors, and we're super grateful to have them on board for every single race this season. And yeah, we'll get back to the action, because I feel like it's going to start picking up here soon, Joe.
Really, man. I mean, it's been a good one so far. I mean, these guys, like you was talking about, I think with the, I don't know. This point stuff has just really been tight. Really, really tight. Tight. I'm at a loss, man, because usually by now we kind of know who's going to be Final Four, and you're really coming into this thing. We got an idea, but we don't know 100%.
Yeah, and that's
real quick, Caleb. I think what threw us off, the code of race. Okay?
Yeah, and that's honestly the best part about having a road course in the playoffs. Just the unpredictability of it. And just as we're seeing Kenny come down pit road now, which will cycle, I believe, the leaders if everyone starts to pit behind him.
Kenny's on pit road leaders. I put Scott Simley, the only one that, he's a couple others who haven't pitted, but
yeah. So you got Simley, Ghost, Grant, Moore, Becker, Brown, and Kelly pitted early.
He did pitted at 56. Tatum pitted at 58, so that's another one that's going to be. Tatum's going to have to pit again, and it's going to mar him back in traffic. So that's another one we're going to have to talk about. You see Scott Simley going up on his pit road now. Brass right there along with him. Going to take over the lead again. And I think at this point, so let's look real quick. We were talking about that points before. So Trask right now is out front. Altus did make his pit stop. And like I said, it was a 45-second pit stop. It's 32 seconds between him and Trask. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. Altus is not making up 32 seconds by the end of this race. If Trask decides to stay out, he's going to need a caution. I think at this point, Altus is going to, or get up to that top 10. Well, if Trask wins, it doesn't matter. I mean, you see Altus is now just taking over, just getting back on the lead lap. So that's going to put him a full lap We'll even look at the tire wear here. So last lap was 32.15. Altus is running a 31.10. So that even tells me right there, because the fall off will be on both of them. I don't know, Caleb. I think that's a huge uphill battle for Altus. Something needs to happen. Trash run out of gas.
Yeah, something needs to happen, and Altus needs it to happen now. And
if Trash pits, it's over. If Trash pits, it's over for him. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say if Trash pits at this point, he won't make the Final Four because it's going to put him behind all.
I feel like Trask has the area to pit, and he could probably get away with 2 tires. Because the time in which it takes
if he was going to do it, he needs to do it now. Then he'd have to do it now, because the longer he waits, the more Altus closes in and pushes that gap. But it also makes more time that he has, that if he does lose time to Altus, he doesn't have that time to make up. I mean, right now we're looking at 30 laps to go. This place here is so hard to make up ground. I don't know, and I'm gonna stick to the fact of I think Trask has to stay. I mean, Honeycutt's on pit road, Kerry's on pit road. I don't know, man, Caleb. It's whew. Hey, remember the other weeks we've been wrong before, so.
Yeah, it's been a lot this season.
Throwing notebooks out the window.
I've generally been pretty good about calling out the pit strategy and when it's going to happen this season, just the way the drivers
this really helped the Altus man real quick. He jumped up the 14th spot right there. So he's 27 seconds back. If he can get again, it really won't matter if Trask wins the race. Because like you said, then he's got to battle Collins. So then we'd have to look where Collins is. And he right now is Collins. Actually, Parker Collins is 27th. So, and a lap down, by the way. So let's break this up. Even if Trask wins, Alta still get into the championship at this point.
Excuse me, sorry. Choked on my water. Yeah, no, oh man.
No.
Yeah, no.
I know it's exciting now.
So, but just the way this is unfolding,
man, that's what it
is. The way this is unfolding, if Trask wins the race, it essentially turns this race between Collins and Altus, which we see Altus currently climbing the board, and right now he is in front of Collins, and he had a 2-point buffer above Collins before this race even started. So
now, who else would it put? Obviously Tatum would be probably the third one. Who else are we looking at as the fourth right?
So
Sherwood.
Now,
my bad, Sherwood.
Yeah. So
actually, the top three right now: Tatum, Trask, Tatum, and Sherwood. As of right now, would be the final four, and with Altus, if it ended now, it would be Altus, Sherwood, Tatum, Trask.
Yep. And I'm just watching the leaderboard, and I'm trying to see, we're 25 laps to go here. We're really entering the whole stretch.
Tatum, Sherwood on pit road. Wow. Which, all right, I said if they're going to make their pit stop, do it now. And this is smart because they've got enough time to make up. Let's see what they do on pit road. Tires, does it take forward? Does it take fuel only?
I think Trask might be going down pit road.
Trask is still out. Yep, he's on pit road. Yes, he is.
I seen him take the low line going to 3. That's generally the indicator to the trucks.
But what does Trask has to do as far as Collins?
Collins pitted a good bit before, so I'm sure he's driving and using up all the tire
I'm
that
talking
he
about
can.
points wise. What would Trask have to do? So let's say Altus stays in front of Trask. What would Trask have to do as far as to get into this Final Four? Can he get in the Final Four?
So
If he stays in front of Collins,
if Trask stays in front of Collins, it was a 3-point
looks like
buffer.
he's going to, because Collins is still in 26 and Trask is coming out in 16th.
It was a 3-point buffer, so that's 4 positions he would have to gain to be.
Right, yeah. Okay, so right now he's in the goods. He's in 17th. Collins is sitting in 26.
Yeah, and right now you have Altus, who is in front of both, but I feel like that's going to change shortly, because Altus is going to go to the end. There's no way, if you're Altus, you'd hit again, because you wouldn't gain anything out of that. I feel like that would
Jacob Grant's the only other one, man. We got to work. Wait, we ain't talking about Grant. He's right there in 4th. He put it on lap 75. He can go the distance, wins this race. Another one that can steal one of those positions and ghost.
Yeah, and I unfortunately for Grant, he's going to have to win this race. There's really no other way he can advance. He was -7 coming into this race, and with the race that Collins, Trask, and unfortunately Altus is having, there's no other way he can advance other than a win.
And just to show you how much this is such a momentum style track and tires really fall off and equalize a lot, the top 3 or top 4 where Grant is, well, Dyer ran a little slower that time, but before they were within a half a tenth of each other. So that tells you that none of these guys are just blowing each other's doors off, and it's so hard to catch you. They're so evenly matched. I mean, Kenny ran a 99 and 96 to Grant there. So now they slowed down a little bit to 32.20, 32.05, 32.30. So they're still within of each other. So that's what makes it so hard to get here. But Altus right now in 6th. Let's look back here. Tatum back in 18th. Sherwood's up to 21st. And we talked about where, Collins, unfortunately, still marred. He is, if he gets a caution, he'd be the lucky dog. He's in 24th. But Trask right now sitting in 12th. I mean, he's...
I think
real quick, he's 14 seconds behind Altus. But I think right now, even if he would have to win the race, because there's only 6 positions that would be between him and Altus at this point. I really won't matter. I think right now Trask has to stay in front of Collins with that.
Yeah, and I think something happened to Collins, maybe like a pit road penalty.
I'm trying to look back here. Let's see. I mean, his last pit stop was still a 15-second and a 44, so it had to happen way later in the race, but it got him marred. I'm with you there. It got him way marred back in traffic. He's 23rd, and that takes me back to that old saying there, Caleb, man. You've heard me say it, and a lot of people say it, is mental mistakes did in real racing, and pit stops is the #1 mental mistake on oval racing. You can win or lose a race on pit road easily.
Yeah, I mean, and it's super simple to do, and I feel like you have to practice pit stops just as much as you have to practice the race. Every pit road is different, and really hitting your marks in the pit stall can, like you said, win or lose the race for you. Where you position your truck, because there's a certain way you have to do it. Sometimes you'll too far left, too far right, because your guys still have to be able to move around in that box.
Yep.
So just like real racing. And even if he slid through the box and had a reverse, that's at least 5 seconds lost right there, because you slid through your box. Now you have to put it in reverse. then you have to stop it again because your guys can't jump over the wall um, until you're
Brass up
I
to
think
10th right now, so wow.
yeah, and you still see Altus in 6th here. I don't think we're gonna see any of these top 10 pit,
No.
especially Dyer, Kenny, Simley, Grant, Ghost. I don't think you're gonna see any of those guys pit, especially Altus. Altus is in it now, and I'm still not seeing Colin's name in the top 20.
No, he's back here in. He's actually, unfortunately, now he is a. Go quick. Unfortunately, he's back in 24th, and he's not in the lucky dog. Lane Hostler would be the one that would get that, and Dustin Martin. Well, actually, now Hostler's on pit road, but that put Martin even still in front of Collins if a caution was to fly. So, unfortunately, Collins back in 23rd. Brass right now doing what he needs to do, hanging on in 10th, so that's still 13 spots. So mathematic-wise, it's still right now, I'm going to still say Altus, Trask, Sherwood, and Tatum.
Yeah, and the way they're sitting Sherwood 18.
Caution out! What?
Oh no! Oh,
Wayne Chapman around. Oh, the cow machine. The price of milk, man. Yeah, the price of milk right now. Don't want to wreck the cows too much. See what happened to him right here on the replay.
So you got Clark on the outside here, 89. Wonder if there was contact made.
All right, yeah, just a little contact. Oh, the 89 just hole closed before he got there and
obviously
turned him around. Wow. But this does not help Collins. This does not help Collins because he's going to have to either think about one. He doesn't get the lucky dog. Dustin Martin's going to get it. So he's going to have to either take the wave around or, well, he's coming on pit road, so it doesn't matter. He's still going to be a lap down. Oh, wow.
And, just looking at it, what a break for Dyer and everyone else that did not pit. Guys that really weren't, drivers that really weren't running up front this entire race.
Oh, now Kenny's going and said, look, man, I might not have won last week, but I'm going to win this week.
Yeah, I mean, what a better way to seal off, the season. Because I do feel like next week we're going to see a lot of leniency towards our championship drivers. I know we have had plenty of discussions about that up here in the booth, Joe.
Yeah, I don't want to see it. I still want to see the other drivers race them hard. So, because I don't want it to. I just don't like it. I think that's favoritism. Did NASCAR a lot. I watched NASCAR a long time to know. I feel like if you're going to be a champion, you need to earn being a champion, and that means you got to race everybody, not have guys go, oh, well, yeah, I don't want to get in your way. Let me just move out of the way. Even though I'm faster than you, I'll give you the inside. I'll give you the preferred line. No, you're either going to find a way around me if I'm faster, or you can run through me and do that. I don't bring that. It's just,
well, I'll say we've already seen a little bit of that. So, but
let's set the stage here, Caleb. We've got under caution, first one tonight here. It's going to be a little less than 10 laps to go. We got Matthew Dyer out front. Everybody's made a pit stop, so all the calculations of pits, everybody's good to go from this point on. Although Trask did not take 4 tires, so that's unusual. Mike Kelly did not take 4 tires. So, we're going to see what the tire wear is now here with those guys. They had 9-second pit stops, so kind of unusual that they would not have taken it. It still put Collins, he's back in 28th position, some laps down. Rob Sherwood, though, got marred back there. He's still in 18th place. Tatum's back in 13th. We got Alta sitting right there in 6th, and then Trask sitting in the 8th place.
Oh, we have a sleeper right here. Grant is in 3rd. He needs to win this race.
Yeah. And he's got new tires, and so, and here's where that aggressiveness comes in: as the lights off on the pace car, he's got to go. There is no, sometimes I say semi-conservative, and there's no conservative at this point. You've got to go. If you want to be in a championship, and he tried right there, and get a jump here on Kenny, but he's going to have to push this. And look at Altus push too.
Oh wow, that was.
That's going to be interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and you see Grant already clear of Kenny. He's got Simley behind him. But what a jump by Dyer on the restart. You got Ghost, who also needs a win in this race. You also have Joshua Altus, who is currently trapped right here. He's just got to keep it clean.
Yeah, he doesn't want to wreck. Yeah, now that's one thing that would hurt him. He doesn't want to wreck.
Yeah, but this is 10 to go. I mean, 8 laps to go here. The intensity is going to pick up very heavy with our playoff drivers, especially the ones that need to win. But also, we also had it set last week with the penalty. You can't wreck anyone. I mean, I'm sure you can move them, but if you wreck them, the win will be stripped from you. So, you just got to be very careful. Grant's got
at this point, though, I mean, it wouldn't really matter because you still get the points.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, if if Grant, something happens and, you see the move here, Kenny pushed him in the turn 1, and you see Ghost trying to make Simley on the outside behind Kenny. This is getting down to the wire here, Joe.
Yeah, going to be a good one. I'm with you here, man, just right now. And you see, man, Grant right there in second, trying to do everything he can to get that momentum, but it's so hard to chase down guys in front of you at this track. I mean, that's just what this place is. You can see him there in second, so trying to that outside there where Dyer is, he's got that clean air, and it's huge at this track. Brass back here in ninth, he's right there on the bumper of Altus, and that's what he needs. He needs to keep Altus right there. Because at this point, it really won't matter if he goes around him or whatnot, unless Altus unfortunately wrecks. Collins can advance his position, but he can only get as far as 24th. So at that rate, Trask right now is still safe by a mile, trying to get into it. Sherwood back here moving up kind of through the field a little bit. See him right there. He's in 17th, along with Tatum. I think those two are pretty much safe in themselves. We're 14th and 16th. I don't think really anybody can, unless Grant wins this race. Then that might change. That's going to change the Altus, Trask, Collins.
If Grant or Ghost win this race, that puts Trask and Collins out of the playoffs or out of the championship race, and Altus will advance. So it's really going to come down to the wire here. 5 laps to go. 4 laps to go, I'm sorry.
Whew. Interesting. And you can just see how the air out front is so crucial at this track. That's just the momentum of this track. You can see Dyer there. But right here, Altus needs to be very careful, because the last thing he would want to do is get into trouble. And you're going to race hard no matter what. I'm all for racing. I mean, yes, we had the incident last week, but don't stop racing hard just because of that. Don't race scared. That's the word to use, just because, oh, Lord, still race hard, keep it clean, but race hard. Things are going to happen on the track. It's just racing and whatnot, but people come to see some good racing, not guys, man, giving up, and right now we're seeing that. You're seeing Altus and Trask, man, give everything they got side by side to race, even though Trask knows in this position here that really he can't leapfrog Altus. But yet it still puts him in that championship.
Yeah, and we're seeing Grant attempt to make a move on Dyer up here. He's back
Close.
Bumper of Dyer.
I have one lap to do it here too.
Yeah, we're coming to the white here, so he's going to have to make a move. You're seeing Dyer try to. You're seeing Dyer try to block and try to take the air off Grant's nose. Can he get to the outside?
Yeah, he's going to give him that outside, but he's not going to give him that inside. Yeah, because you're going to see the run off the turn right there. Little momentum, and he doesn't want to give him the inside, but I'm going to tell you what, Grant's going to take it. And a little door contact. I like that. Hey, that's just racing right there. Beautiful. Grant could win this and spoil the party for Trask, and he's going to. What a move on turn 4.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Jacob Grant's going to race his way into the Final 4. Matthew Dyer's at second. What a run up front. But the man right here, Jordan Trask, did everything he could, but Joshua Altus, by being in 9th place, is going to get that final spot. The other spots are going to go to Tatum and Sherwood, and that's going to conclude your Final 4. But, man, I mean, you know, we didn't see it in the cards. Jacob Grant coming up here stealing this one. And that is what I want to see next week. You know, guys outside, inside, battling hard for the win, for the championship. Not guys just getting out of the way. That's what I mean by that's what I want to see. That was a non-playoff driver versus a playoff driver, and neither one of them gave an inch, and they both raced hard. That's what I like seeing right there. That, to me, makes the Clean Racing League, and that was just awesome. But Jacob Grant, man, Caleb, man, can we say anything else about it? What a finish.
It was quite possibly one of the best finishes all season.
to do that.
Hey, Steel, man, like you said, come home, good finish, good run, good race. You got anybody want to thank for the good run tonight?